What? We are sharing how Tseshaht has responded to COVID-19. This is the third and final video in our series. This video shares how Tseshaht is preparing for a possible second wave. Thank you for joining us on our learning journey.
Tseshaht has learned that you need a number of partnerships, and this first one's going to sound odd, but the Emergency Operations Center must partner with the members of Tseshaht. If you don't have the support and the faith of the members, you're not going to be successful. It's going to be an uphill road. It's going to be an uphill battle for you to try and get the work done to protect the people and to protect their homes and property. You must have the confidence of the membership that you're working for. If you don't have that confidence, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to be trying to swim upriver. So the very first partnership I like to think about is the membership of Tseshaht. I think we have a lot of confidence from our members. I think our members look to us when there's an emergency. They tune into Facebook. One day we only have 1,200 members. I had over 4,000 people watching me on Facebook. I have no idea who they were or why they were watching me, but in any event, they did. So you have to have the confidence of the members in order to serve them well. After emergencies, we quite often have a debriefing. We ask the community, what could we have done better? So that's the first thing. You must have a relationship, even if it's not a partnership, but at least a relationship with the other first responders in your area. So for Tseshaht, that includes the Port Alberni and Sprout Lake Fire Departments, because we have a contract with the Port Alberni Fire Department to respond to fires on our reserve. So them, with the health authorities, for the COVID pandemic, for example, it was very important that we meet with, by telephone, the British Columbia Chief Medical Officer, a medical officer from Nanaimo, and the First Nations Health Authority. The First Nations Health Authority is very important to Tseshaht during emergencies. If we have a flood on our reserve, I will call the First Nations Health Authority if there are water lines that are underwater, because they will immediately issue a boil water advisory. And I need that so I can go back to the membership and say, First Nations Health Authority has issued a boil water advisory. And if the First Nations Health Authority is doing it, we got to listen to them. So there's that exchange of information that's important, and it's important that you partner with them so that you're in a good place. ISK, Indigenous Services Canada, can be an important partner, but the relationship with them is always quite distant. In the case of the pandemic, they provided Tseshaht with, I think it was over $200,000 of new money. That is money from the 2020-21 budget. So we got a little over 200,000 based on population, remoteness, a whole number of factors. And the money came from ISK through the Tribal Council, because we're block funded, to Tseshaht First Nation. Really, that was the end of our relationship with ISK. They handed over the money, and we met with them by teleconference twice to clarify what we could spend the money on, but it was really almost anything. As it turned out, we were able to identify ourselves critical needs within the community and able to direct the money in that way. So partnerships can be important. Don't expect that partnership means that somebody else is going to do half the work. No, that's not necessarily what a partnership is all about. Sometimes it's about exchanging information. For a First Nation that's struggling with a pandemic, there are a couple of things that I think they should do right away. Number one is information. Your membership needs to get accurate, sound information on the pandemic and what it's doing, how they can avoid getting sick. We've seen in British Columbia a couple of cases where small communities involving lots of First Nations people have gotten infected. Alert Bay was one, Blueberry was another up in the northeast of BC. So there have been pockets of First Nations where people have gotten the pandemic. So they need to understand some critical things. Washing hands, you can't wash your hands enough every day. Just keep washing them. Every time you go out, before you come in the house, if possible, wash your hands with soap for 20 seconds. Wash your hands, stop touching your face. Socially distance from other people that you don't know. If you're in a household with 5 or 6 people, it's your nuclear family, fine. That's okay, you guys. You're living in the same house anyway. But if you're gonna meet somebody, like you're going out to the grocery store, try and stay 6 feet away from the person. It really does work. If we look at the numbers in British Columbia today of infection, it's going down very fast. And our infection rate and our death rate in BC, compared to other places in the world, has been very low. And Vancouver Island, by the way, has been exceptionally good. So I think it works. So the first thing I would tell a First Nation is get the information and bring it to your people. Let your people know what it is. It doesn't mean having a band meeting. No, you got to go to their house. We in Tseshaht printed up special band bulletins, and in the band bulletin there was a pictograph that showed you how to wash your hands. There was another pictograph that showed you the importance of social distancing and how to do it. And then there were others about not touching your face and doing all those other things that are important to stop yourself from getting an infection. Number one, educate your members. Number two, identify who in your community needs special attention. It's easy to do when you live in a small community. I know half of what's going on in my community, and I know who's medically fragile. I can identify them just sitting here right now. I could give you 10, 20 names of people who have severe medical problems. Identify those people and then identify how you're going to help them to stay from getting the coronavirus. Talk to your members about what their needs are. It might be as simple as cleaning products, something like bleach, Lysol, detergent, gloves, proper gloves for cleaning, all those sorts of things. It might be as easy as that. That's what I would do first, to plan for the future, because we all know the coronavirus is going to come back this fall. Dr. Henry thinks it'll be sometime, the Chief Medical Officer of BC, thinks it will be sometime around October with the flu epidemic that we get every year. You can still plan between now and then. You can take online courses. You can set up your emergency preparedness committee. You can train people for an EOC, designate someone who wants to volunteer, who's committed, and who will have the time during emergency to do it. You still can set up an EOC between now and then. So you can do this, you can get ready for the next wave of this pandemic and be all ready for it when it comes in October. We had a pandemic plan when this one came into effect. When this pandemic started, I should say, we had a pandemic plan. We have a emergency operations manual that has within it how to respond to forest fires, floods, earthquakes, tsunami alerts, all sorts of things. And yes, there was a pandemic one as well. We didn't think we'd ever use it in our lifetime, but here you are. So we learned a lot from how we addressed this pandemic here in Tseshaht. And I think that based on the knowledge we have now, we're going to be able to respond even better next time. We've sort of laid the groundwork already, and we'll be able to just build on that. For example, Tseshaht has over 1,200 members. There are a significant number of those members who had moved without telling us their new address. As a result of this pandemic, we now have a lot of those new addresses. We've had to find them, if for no other reason than distributing them halibut and distributing them $300 checks. So they've come to us with their new addresses. We're ready more now for the next phase of this pandemic than we were when we started this one. So I think working on this one's prepared us a lot.
Thank you for watching. Remember to be kind, be calm, and be safe.